Do you see what is happening right before our eyes? In the coming day, Jesus Christ will return to the earth as the millennial Messiah, or the second coming.
The Book of Mormon exposes the enemies of Christ. It confounds false doctrines and lays down contention. It fortifies the humble followers of Christ against the evil designs, strategies, and doctrines of the devil in our day. The type of apostates in the Book of Mormon are similar to the type we have today. God, with his infinite foreknowledge, so molded the Book of Mormon that we might see the error and know how to combat false educational, political, religious, and philosophical concepts of our time.
In another revelation, the Lord declares that some of these signs are his voice calling his people to repentance. Hearken, O ye nations of the earth, and hear the words of that God who made you. How oft have I called upon you by the mouth of my servants, and by the ministering of angels, and by mine own voice, and by the voice of thunderings, and by the voice of lightnings, and by the voice of tempests, and by the voice of earthquakes, and great hailstorms, and by the voice of famines, and pestilences of every kind, and would have saved you with an everlasting salvation, but ye would not.
Travis, my good soul, before last week's Holy Week, I was being cyber attacked on this morning, Wednesday mornings. As those of you who follow me found out, the date's been changed for cyber terrorism. But be on alert that they may be trying to readjust their schedule at work to attack me. And I know it's a human being rather than AI because of the patterns. If it were AI, it would be a constant, daily, hourly threat. I wouldn't be able to do anything on my computer. A human being, however, has limitations. They have to have their lunch break. They have to have time off before accessing work computers to cyber terrorize me. Ezra Taft Benson, in the 80s, as I was the first planting of seed in the seminary program to be scripture-oriented in our scripture study, with the Bible dictionary, topical guide, footnoting, scripture masteries. As such, I am the first fruits of this scripture orientation in studying scriptures. It was immediately halted 10 years later. Church realized the danger, and it was too soon. So you need to pay attention to my videos and not treat them lightly like you treat the Book of Mormon lightly. That you not reject me as you reject the Book of Mormon. We believe the Bible to be the Word of God as far as it is translated correctly. And Joseph Smith, in 1838, says also, if it's interpreted correctly. We believe the Book of Mormon to be the Word of God, as far as it is interpreted correctly. Because just as the Bible was mistranslated and misinterpreted, so too can any word be misinterpreted with lying tares rather than the seed of wheat. Section 86. When Benson condemned in section 84 of those missionaries who went out in 1832 lying about the Book of Mormon, sowing tares about the Book of Mormon. Those missionaries added in 1832 sowed tares of the Book of Mormon. They lied. And those tares ended up destroying Joseph Smith's church and murdered him. Guess who joined the church in April of 1832 and then had a mass conversion of those who were sowing tares about the Book of Mormon? I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am the first fruits, Mormons. You are not. The Book of Mormon, as Benson also claims, and he claims correctly, because I am the first fruits, that the Book of Mormon exposes Darwin, Big Bang, false prophets, false Christ, false teachers, like Darwin, the Kingmen, secret combinations, false translations and interpretations of the Bible, exposes forged documents. If only living prophets of Jesus had studied their Book of Mormon as scripture-oriented, like Benson told them to, under Kimball, they would not have been deceived by the forged documents of Mark Hoffman. And the great and abominable Church of the Great Spirit Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So yeah, everybody, it's right there for you. Great Spirit. Jesus. Created by Christianity. Great Spirit. Jesus. Latter-day Saints. Matthew 24. In the latter days, there will be false Christs, false prophets, false teachers to deceive Mormons. Ding, 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 ding. They told you in advance, warned you of the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you fell for the forged document. Thus shall my church be called in the latter days, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That had said that Jesus is in the deseret when Matthew 24 warned you, do not go with Brigham Young. Everything warns Mormons. Everything warns the world. But because of the blindness and confusion caused by the tears of Christianity on the Jewish documents, Brigham Young was able to be a secret combination to destroy the world. Everything is escalating, guys. That was very clear to me last night looking over the news. And so as a result, I've got numerous papers to go over. And they're out of order, as they're separated also on topics, because as I went through one news source, I would write down the highlights from the titles of the videos, then went to the next, and they had additional information that the previous one didn't cover, and so on, until I got to the end. I do not go to individual humans. They are not legitimate news sources. I can't trust them. They are not primary source documents. As we learned the other day, even the news is now using AI, and AI is lying to their viewers, which, when it gets exposed, results in people not being able to trust legitimate news sources. Back in the 70s or 80s, NBC had a big old scandal. I think it was Brian Williams, who faked a news story for ratings. Got exposed. There's another news source. I don't remember. I just remember what it was about. They were doing news reports on how cars explode on impact in a crash. And what they had found out was that the news set it all up by putting the explosives in the standing vehicle right behind it in the upper chassis. So when the car hit it, boom! And TV shows then would cover that. They were doing a Hollywood stunt, is what the news was trying to do to get ratings. When the news gets exposed like that, you can't trust them. We need to be able to trust the news. The First Amendment of the United States of America is not just for free speech, but freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to assemble, freedom to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And when you get these organizations who are protected in the First Amendment, who are now violating it with lies, deceptions, crimes, and then claiming those particular cards, pulling the religion card, pulling the race card, pulling the disability card. What they're doing is using the misinterpretation of the Bible from the mistranslation of, you can't judge me. Keep reading. Yes, we can. It teaches us how to judge righteously. And when you lie, you are a violator of the First Amendment. Whether you're a citizen lying, whether you're a religion lying, whether you're the press lying, whether you're suing somebody based on lies, making a false accusation against them. Those are not protected in the First Amendment, and yet they are. I noticed this morning that Salt Lake City police were forced to purge the remainers who were left over from yesterday. I don't know if that's because of my video yesterday or if that was just part of their plan to now check again every day as the police are being whipped into shape, trying to fire the new Chief Red, the new boy toy of Sister Homewrecker Mendenhall. How dare you! But yeah, Trump gave the order also. And that came from SCOTUS under Biden, who said the homeless are now illegal in America. It is illegal to be homeless. And the states refused to respond to that. Utah said that they're working on it. They hired a committee to get paid money to live a lifestyle, to do the research on it for the rest of their lives, to produce no results. They're working on it. The big, beautiful committee. We'll solve the problems. We've got a committee. Now, also in the news, there are crimes having been committed over a year now, still not being solved. And that's just in the state of Utah. It's because nobody knows how to do science research using the laws of physics, using logical Socratic methodology in their forensic investigation. That is how you destroy the Constitution, because science is protected in the Constitution too. So, Judgment Day is nigh. And I'm not sure what I wrote down for the potential thumbnail picture, but usually when somebody has a sign saying Judgment Day is nigh, we're all going to die, everybody ignores them as just a mentally retarded homeless person who's just crying wolf. Well, no, there is an actual terroristic insurrection threat to not just Utah Mormons, not just to the United States of America, but to the entire world. Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are that warning voice saying Judgment Day is nigh. Do you treat the Book of Mormon lightly? So let's put all of this into context before I just read over it in a non-organized manner, because there's so much to go over. (2020) Mission Presidents Meeting, new mission presidents. Saturday, March 14th, 2020, Las Vegas, Nevada. Dallin H. Oaks is the speaker. President Marquis found his words interesting that were written by Oaks in chiasmus, saying that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is going to be running a test of the emergency broadcast system, a trial run. But nobody is supposed to know about it. He's only telling the brand new mission presidents who are about to start their missions for 2 years. They're going to be gone for 2 years, as the church is now going to be running a test, and Oaks leaked it to these guys who are going to be gone for the next 2 years. March 14th, which means they're coming back in 2022 from their missions. They will be gone. The test run will be over when they return. Nobody was supposed to know about this. And so little sister Jessica, brand new on her mission too, with President Marquis, had everything put on her website for her mission. I want her as my daughter. And she put this letter to mission presidents and parents of the missionaries that were also sent to the missionaries on her website. But it didn't get found out about until November of last year, when I found out about it. God, I am so pissed. If you've been following me all these years, since 2020, you know what I'm talking about. Remember, I'm the first fruits. You're not. The test that they were running was for Judgment Day, the end of the world. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the enemy of mankind. They were going to mass exterminate humans, steal money, and coup governments. And 2020 was just going to be a test run. Book of Mormon warned us that that wasn't intended to be a test run. So something happened that went wrong, so that 2020 now became a test run. Because the Book of Mormon makes it very clear, when you interpret it correctly, as prophecy of the future, not literal history, with the days and the hours, not literal history. As you argue over whether or not 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem was 1 CE, 1 BCE, or 4 CE. That's the diversion, the rabbit hole. Interpret it correctly, and there you go. So yes, Mitt Romney. The church wanted Mitt Romney to win the presidency in 2012. Republicans promoted him as the candidate. If he had won, he would then be running for a second term in 2016's election. And so the test run doesn't need to be run. As a result, the church is merely fulfilling the prophecy of, I had to transfer over back to this computer. We're this close to the end, and you're still forcing me to transfer stuff over. I tried to retire. Tried so hard. Now I find out it's a test run. This is not a test run anymore. Heber C. Kimball. A test. 1868. What is the context of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 1868? The United States is closing in on the church for polygamy. Brigham Young is trying to get Mormon women. He started up the Relief Society again. Some 20 years later, so that women would vote for polygamy. How true it is. What a great lifestyle it is to be in a harem, trapped at home, no education, no career field, just having babies year after year. Such a great life. It's a wonderful life. It's a Christmas movie by Hallmark. We'll just treat women as stupid. There, dear. Go back to knitting. That makes you feel good. Why are women in the church? I don't understand. You are as free as you're ever going to be. Remember? Biden's presidency, SCOTUS overthrew your rights. They're gone. You better hurry, enjoy your freedom, because Trump's taking it away. But you voted for him, so says AI. We're all doomed. So, he's talking about destruction. The western boundary of the state of Missouri will be swept so clean of its inhabitants that, as President Young tells us, no, it was Brigham Young, Brigham Young, it was Joseph Smith in 19 July 1840. There will not be left so much as a yellow dog to wag its tail. He knows the document, and he misquoted the author of it, misattributed it. Because Joseph Smith, in that 19 July 1840, not only said Brigham Young is the enemy, he's also the enemy for the latter days that will cause the coup of the government, the mass extermination, and the theft of money. Constitution will be on the brink of ruin, not hanging by a thread. And so Heber C. Kimball then says, before that day comes, Judgment Day, the saints will be put to a test that will try the integrity of the best of them. We now know what that is. It already happened. These are the latter days. Judgment Day is just in a few days. So, before Judgment Day, what was the test for Mormons? 2011. Social media gets started. 10 million Mormons say, "I'm out." ABC4 News Utah, that little video clip I got for you. A record number of Mormons are leaving the church. The great apostasy. 10 million Mormons out of 15 million. It was difficult to know the actual stats. They obviously didn't have AI to project how many were there that left and how many still remain. But using sacrament meeting attendance numbers was what Jensen was going by. The church has a clerk that makes a count of sacrament meeting attendance. And that was used to fund the wards for their activities during the week. Nelson hoarding money. No more funding for activities. So the church gets to keep more of the money. So 2012, Mitt Romney then runs for president. It's possible he announced his candidacy in 2011, which also contributed to the social media exposure of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Underwear. It's fundamental, with the square in the compass of Freemasonry. Oh, but Heber C. Kimball said in his journal that he was never a part of any Freemasonic lodge in this valley. It's on the boobs. The temple was the Freemasonic lodge of Brigham Young. Joseph kept them separate. But people don't do their research. They trust people's journal entries. And it's sad, because despite the actual documents that Brigham Young had kept of him making the temple changes, the underwear changes, the second anointings, the polygamous sealings. Brigham, not Joseph. Brigham, after Joseph is dead, Brigham records the polygamous sealings, for which the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, without those documents, says, well, yeah, the journal entries are true. Joseph was a polygamist. Those women who wrote in their journals in this valley saying Joseph Smith approached them, Joseph Smith was sealed to them, Joseph Smith had sex. Sorry, honey, the kid's not yours. They all lied because Brigham Young kept the document of the sealings of those women to Joseph Smith, to Brigham Young, to Heber C. Kimball, to Willard Richards, who was the clerk. Joseph Smith didn't get sealed to little girls. Willard Richards did. They framed and blamed Joseph after he was dead. We have the documents. The church didn't destroy them. But the church ain't releasing them to you. It won't tell you. Lies and denialisms, distorting the historical record to deceive Mormons and deceive exfo nevermos as well. I'm not sure when the Times magazine came out about Mormons Incorporated. No, Metallica revised Damage Incorporated to be Mormons Incorporated. But that was a big problem during Mitt Romney's election campaign, is that the church is not a religion, it's a corporation. It's supposed to be taking care of its members, but as we're witnessing in the news, they don't take care of members either. And sure enough, Mill Creek is offering a token amount of money after doing my video yesterday morning on that. Why don't you just shoot them? You think that giving them a token amount of money is now making you the good guys? That fixes their problem, everything's solved? Dear God. And you know the insurance companies aren't going to compensate for them. They probably don't even have it for renters insurance. Dear God. And so yeah, even that company, they're screwed over too. They most likely have insurance though, and they'll get at least some money back for it. But the people, nope. Definitely not the 3 dead people. Bruce R. McConkie warned Mormons, not all of you will be saved from the day of burning. There will be some collateral damage. A test. And so the test is exposing the church for lying to the world, claiming to be a religion when they're not, claiming certain things of church history which will get exposed. Should have been the Book of Mormon exposing this church. Jewish? You told us you're Christian. You mean Christians were right this whole time? How did Christians know you weren't Christian? How did you deceive us? The inverted pentagram on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. The Nauvoo Temple would be rebuilt eventually after this. Brilliant thinking, yes. Let everybody in the world know. See the inverted pentagrams. See how a pretty star they are. The doctrines of the inverted pentagram are taught within Paleo. Mouth to God. You don't remember that I'm the one who... Why do I bother? So that's also a danger, is that because I'm under cyber attack, YouTube changing their algorithms to silence me worse than ever this year. The final year, when it's no longer a test run, and YouTube kicks up the attack against me to silence me, to not save your lives, making YouTube complicit in your death and misery and suffering. The enemy is rising to destroy this year. This is not a test run anymore. So yes, the lies of the church are to be exposed. The financial scam of the church is to be exposed. And Mormons will be put to the test and will try the integrity of the best of them. Do you worship Lucifer, Mormons? Can you endure when the storms of the truth come? Yep, Mitt Romney lost. So the backup plan was then instituted, and thus test run. Because Mitt Romney was needed to win in order to get everything set up for the 2020 election, as the Book of Mormon tells us. And we know that that's the case because of the dating given in the Book of Mormon from 3rd Nephi chapter 7 to 3rd Nephi chapter 11. 3rd Nephi chapter 11 is the death sign, which is in Revelation chapter 19, which is given the date of 8 April 2024. So, test run instead. Everything got moved. And so there's some scriptures that are prophecies based on 2020 and 2021 being the years, not 2024 and 2025. And so some of them are screwed up. And these are about Judgment Day. Probably should have kept that on the screen. What Nelson changed as a hinge point, Stephen Miller came out on Fox and said, hinge point. Yay, nothing says not connected or not, no collusion like collusion. If you're somebody who watches a lot of television, so you see episodes or even movies, and you see one character use a certain phrase, and then you have another character who's supposed to have a completely different linguistic pattern, who's not even associated with the one character who uses the same phrase over and over again, but then the other character uses that same phrase, completely separated in the story, not connected. Then they will eventually get connected, but they're both using the same phrasing. That's a scriptwriter error. The scriptwriter is not able to have a multi-personality disorder to put themselves in the minds of each character that they're writing about to give them each a distinctive linguistic pattern in the story. And so a lot of times, TV shows will have multiple script writers for each separate character. And then you get the individual actors who they mold the script around so that it can be more realistic. But it is hilarious when it's low budget. Nonetheless, notwithstanding. So let's just, not in order. I went through Judgment Day in my scriptures, And so, interestingly, Matthew mostly talks about Judgment Day. There's a couple of others, but Matthew consistently, and of course the Book of Mormon and Doctrine and Covenants. Judgment Day. Book of Mormon corrects it for us. Joseph Smith corrects it for us from the misinterpretation of the Bible. Second Nephi, chapter 1, verse 10. So, yeah. Oh, right, Second Nephi, chapter 1, verse 10. God, I'm still trying to wake up, even after my run. But behold, when the time cometh, remember the Book of Mormon gives you the time, that they shall dwindle in unbelief. Right, Mormons? This is to you. The Book of Mormon was specifically to you, exclusively to you. When Mormons dwindle in unbelief, liken the scriptures unto yourself. After they have received so great blessings from the hand of the Lord. You know, the Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith. Having a knowledge of the creation of the earth, because the Book of Mormon condemns the Big Bang Theory, restores vegetation theory, and all men, thus doing away with the theory of evolution, dumbass Darwin. Knowing the great and marvelous works of the Lord from the creation of the world, have power given them to do all things by faith. Getting the word through inspiration, and then producing the results of that inspiration. Invention, discoveries, decipherments, new technologies, science, logic, truth, having all the commandments from the beginning. There's only one, sex. All right, agency too. Don't take away life, liberty, or property of another, and they in return should give it to you. Otherwise, then you have a justice system to punish people for their crimes of taking away agency. You know, the Constitution. Our justice system has failed. Joseph Smith is wrong. Constitution will not be saved in Washington. Likewise, Benson's referring to 19 July 1840. And having been brought by his infinite goodness into this precious land of promise, United States of America, behold, I say, if the day shall come that Mormons reject the Holy One of Israel, the true Messiah, not the false Christ, Jesus, the Jewish Christ, whom Joseph Smith, section 103, he's a Mormon. That's why the Book of Mormon is for Mormons, because your Christ will be a Mormon, just like Joseph Smith was a Christ, the founding Christ, the cornerstone Christ, not the chief cornerstone of the cornerstone Christ, just the cornerstone. The capstone Christ is the Mormon in the latter days, who starts his ministry precisely as it stands in all Jewish scripture when correctly translated and interpreted. 23rd September 2017. Their Redeemer and their God, behold the judgments of him that is just shall rest upon them. This is Judgment Day. when the wicked will destroy themselves. And those Mormons who believe the Book of Mormon, who believe Joseph Smith, and have studied, looking forward for the signs of the coming of the Mormon, will be the ones to go to Zion. So there's more, a whole bunch more, a whole list. We're already at 47 minutes. Crap. Notice I'm not being cyber terrorized like previous weeks. 2nd Nephi chapter 9, 22. And he suffereth this, that the resurrection might pass upon all men. Now they correct resurrection in the Book of Mormon too. It's not a zombie apocalypse. I know, all those movies are awesome. Not true. Christians botched it. So Joseph Smith erected, Brigham Young insurrected. The Mormon, if you can't tell who he would be wearing white at his bedside, 2 Mormons of his coming, that Joseph Smith tells you in his vision, not literal history, I can't help you. He re-erects, resurrects the religion, the temple, the law of agency. Zion, the designs, the building, and the operation of Zion, and the non-monetary system of economy for the storehouse. I still can't believe that other Mormons didn't catch on to this. As a kid, I understood. Oh, we have a bishop's storehouse for the poor and the hungry. The bishop in the tithing settlement, before Nelson changed the name, the bishop quoted Malachi. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse. Oh, bishop's storehouse, food for poor. So I pay tithing to the church and it goes to the poor. Then why does my little box have savings, mission, and spending? Or it's actually, I can't remember anymore. I screwed it up. Mission. It was mission, I think. Savings, mission, tithing, I think. But then we're being told about fast offerings. You need to give a generous fast offering, but it's not on what would become the adult temple recommend questions. Because as kids, we're graphically asked about sexual details of our life. How much porn have you watched lately? How often do you masturbate? Do you look at women who are not covered up and hidden? Please go into graphic detail. Little kid. God. How do Mormons not catch on to this? I don't get it. I was born and raised in the church. I caught on. Why didn't others who were born and raised in this church not catch on? How did converts not catch on? I don't get it. Anyway, moving on. My all pass upon all men, that all might stand before him at the great and judgment day. Section 45 of the Doctrine and Covenants makes it very clear, only those who get to go to Zion will stand before him in the judgment day. Everybody else doesn't believe in him. They all want to fight to the death. I get to be Korihor, or not Korihor, Coriantumr. You get to be Shiz. No, you were Shiz last time. I want to be Shiz. This is why the church rejected Book of Mormon characters for merchandising for kids. I am reenacting the war against the Lamanites. I'll need the microwave, Mommy. For the burning power of Jesus. This is taking too long. Chapter 3. Oh my God. Thus saith the Lord, they shall stand, the words of God, the Book of Mormon, as a bright testimony against Mormons in the future at the judgment day. The Book of Mormon will be the testimony against Mormons at judgment day. This is why I've warned you. The Book of Mormon will judge you. This is why I identify AI commenters and emailers. We have another one today. Assuming we can get to it anytime soon here. The Book of Mormon exposes frauds, but you've got to study your Book of Mormon, learn the precepts, produce the results of the precepts to know that they are true, to know and have experience on how to identify beam motors, false accusers, liars, forged documents. If you are not running the tests on the Book of Mormon precepts, you are not figuring all this out. Almost falling hair. Not a single hair will fall unnoticed. It's supposed to be on the top of my head. But I was already told as a kid by my dad, who cut my hair, and cut my ears too. My dad. And so now I have to shave my ears because of my dad's abuse. Because I heard about the kids pulling the prank of shaving little boys' backs so that they would have a hairy back. You know, like Bruce Willis. You know, Bruce Willis was bullied as a kid and had his back shaved. So yes, as kids, we lived in fear. So yes, my dad telling me about how to shave, that's how it will grow back thicker. And here he is shaving my ears. But yeah, he told me that my receding hairline would happen because of my mom's father. So sure enough, I've got my mom's father's receding hairline. And so it's thick right now because it's time for a haircut. And the coming day, along with Judgment Day, whereof Mormons shall be judged. The Book of Mormon will judge you. Do you follow the Book of Mormon? Are you the 5 wise virgins, or did you treat the Book of Mormon lightly? Claimed a spiritual witness feeling, you're good. No, you're not. You're out. Heber C. Kimball set you up for failure for the test. Of course, he was thinking the church was going to win. Book of Mormon says, no! Every man according to his works. The Book of Mormon's judging you as to whether or not you can produce the results of the precepts in the Book of Mormon. Uh-oh. We've got a lot of foolish virgins in the church. And we're running out of time. It's too late now. There is no deathbed repentance for Zion. Whether they be good or whether they be evil. And if they be evil, they are consigned to an awful view of their own guilt and abominations. Remember, you're a part of the great and abominable church. Those abominations, which just cause them to shrink from the presence of the Lord. Yeah, you don't want to go to Zion. What do you mean, no monetary system of economy? How am I supposed to steal money from other people? How are we supposed to use AI to project how much money we're going to steal from other people? Raise the rent. AI said so. We're going to make so much money off of our tenants. Raise the electric bill. We're going to get so much money from the suckers and losers who are renting and who own homes. Yes, it's in the news. AI is causing the higher prices. Projecting. Yep, so the lawsuit here in Utah about the high rents, yeah, it's because of AI. You're not using that in your prosecution, are you guys? Oops. For the electric bill, you're not using AI as the reason for the high prices, are you? Oops. So the justice system here in Utah immediately put a stop to AI when a stupid prosecutor used AI as a case against a defendant. And at least the defendant had a defense attorney who was able to expose it. Because otherwise, other defense attorneys don't seem to catch those things. They don't object when they should have. So innocent people go to prison. Know if this is going to be 2 hours. So yeah, I know, long videos. Nobody wants to watch long videos. And yet people, by the hundreds of thousands, watch the hours of long videos of other exfos, even momos. And yet you complain about mine. God. I know. I see the results of others. People are just making excuses to treat me lightly to treat the Book of Mormon lightly. 33, verse 22. And this you're supposed to remember, Alma 32, starting in verse 28. The poor Zoramites kicked out of Zoram and denied worshiping in the Jewish sanctuary, synagogue, turned into a Christian church of the Great Spirit Jesus. Christians replacing Jews. Well, that's new. That has never happened before in history. What is this teaching that the Book of Mormon is giving? This doesn't happen. Book of Mormon is not exposing anything of Christianity and the abuse towards Jews. Not at all. Oh my God. And so they don't know what to do with their lives. They're having a faith crisis. Alma and Amulek appears because Korihor is dead now. And so they teach them how to reprogram their brains using science and logical Socratic methodology for studying of the scriptures. The faith process, getting inspiration, producing the results in the flesh, the fruit. The universal law of physics. And so here in 33:22 now, the very next chapter. If so, woe shall come unto you. But if not so, then cast about your eyes and begin to believe in the Son of God, that he will come to redeem Mormons, that he shall suffer, and Joseph Smith shall die to atone for their sins, and that the future Christ shall resurrect from the dead. Joseph Smith is murdered. He needs to be restored, resurrected, which shall bring to pass the resurrection, that all men shall stand before him to be judged at the last and judgment day, according to their works. Fruit. This was Oliver Cowdery, according to the linguistic pattern, his doctrine that he put in. Helaman 25, 23. You have rejected all these things, notwithstanding the many evidences you have received. You have rejected the truth, rebelled against your holy God. And even at this time, instead of laying up for yourselves treasures in heaven, you're hoarding money, calling it Jesus' storehouse, separate from the bishop's storehouse, where nothing doth corrupt, and where nothing can come which is unclean. Zion. The treasury is the storehouse. Zion. Ye are heaping up for yourselves wrath against the day of judgment. You will be rejected from Zion, because you rejected the truth. You rebelled. You rejected all the evidence. You denied it. The physical evidence, and you denied it. You use spiritual witness feelings rather than fruit, and you will be rejected, as you are still pursuing money, because the church does. Mormon, chapter 7, verses 7 and 10. And he hath brought to pass the redemption of the world, whereby he that is found guiltless before him at the judgment day hath it given unto him to dwell in the presence of God in his kingdom, to be a joint heir. You're not going to be bound or yoked to the Mormon. The great and abominable church says you're going to be bound and yoked to Jesus and pay him back for his free atonement. So that you can sing Master of Puppets with the choirs above. And Mormons Incorporated. And then the whistleblower, I didn't even mention the whistleblower in 2019, right before the test run. Hilarious. Way to go. And that's also when I sued the church too. But I knew of the threat of the church and warned, and they did not listen to me. And thus he hath laid a cunning plan, thinking to destroy the work of God. You know, the Book of Mormon, 116 pages. But I will require this. Ooh, use Deuteronomy 18, verse 15. Or it's actually 18. Require. At their hands, and it shall turn to their shame and condemnation in the day of judgment. The Book of Mormon is specifically written to get Mormons into Zion, or you will be excluded as 5 foolish virgins who don't have the reserve oil at Temple Square's statue. He stirreth up in their hearts to anger against this work. He saith unto them, deceive and lie in wait to catch, that ye may destroy. There is no harm in this, unless he flattereth them and telleth them there is no sin, to lie, that they may catch a man in a lie, that they may destroy him. Thus he flattereth them, and leadeth them along until he draggeth their souls down to hell. Hell is for children, hell is for Mormons. Thus he causeth them to catch themselves in their own snare. Purim. The law of Purim. Deuteronomy 19:19. Joseph Smith Sr. He really knows the scriptures. Too bad nobody believes him. Nobody believes it's him. The hero of saving America, 9/11, 1826. Nobody knows it still to this day. Because nobody believes my videos. Because I'm the only one talking about it. 19:3. Retaining all power, even to the destroying of Satan and his works at the end of the world. Hey, in the coming day. and the last great day of judgment, which I shall pass upon the inhabitants of the earth, judging Danites. Previous verse I read. Catching themselves in their own snare, according to his works and the deeds which he hath done. So go ahead, be a Danite. And then you're going to be weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth, being rejected from Zion. There will be Mormons who will try to sneak in. No. So 52:11. For thus saith the Lord, I will cut my work short by extending it. The test run. Righteousness. For the days come that I will send forth judgment unto victory. Joseph Smith is wrong. Constitution will not be saved in Washington. 56:10. Otherwise, he shall receive the money which he has paid. This is not Judgment Day. 56, 10. Oops. And shall be cut off out of my church. Okay, well, I don't see Judgment Day here. I don't see it anywhere near. I don't know how this. Hearken, O ye people who profess my name, saith the Lord your God, for behold, mine anger is kindled against the rebellious, and they shall know mine arm and mine indignation in the day of, here it is, 1, in the day of visitation and of wrath upon the nations. 10, what the hell am I thinking? Stayed up late. Just a simple little check turned into research for an hour. And he who will not take up his cross and follow me and keep my commandments, the same shall not be saved. But I, the Lord, command, and he that will not obey, and what do you have to obey? Agency. Sex. Agency shall be cut off, precisely as it stands in our New Testament version. In mine own due time, Judgment Day, after I have commanded, and the commandment is broken. All right, section 70. See, I missed 2 Nephi 9:46. We should cover that since I wrote it down. 2 Nephi 9:46. Prepare your souls for that glorious day when justice shall be administered unto the righteous, even the day of judgment, that ye may not shrink with awful fear, that ye may not remember your awful guilt in perfectness, and be constrained to exclaim, Holy, holy are thy judgments, O Lord God Almighty. But I know my guilt, I transgressed thy law, and my transgressions are mine, and the devil hath obtained me, that I am prey to his awful misery. Shout, shout, shout at the devil. 70:14. 74. An account of the stewardship will I require of them, Mormons, in the judgment day. Technically the priesthood. Try telling that to a woman. Father has a responsibility to give a stewardship of the family. No. No. Women are not a part of the family. Women are separate. They give their own stewardship. Whatever. If you don't believe in the family proclamation. And the husband is the provider, and thus the presider. If you don't believe the living prophet of Jesus, no, 109:38. You can't just make up your own Mormonism and call it true and still go to the original for which you rejected. If you reject this church, you need to leave like the 10 million did back in 2011. With the advent of social media. So now it's AI that nobody can trust. 38, okay. Put upon thy servants the testimony of the covenant, that when the missionaries go out and proclaim thy word, that they may seal up the law, and prepare the hearts of the saints for all those judgments thou art about to send in thy wrath upon the inhabitants of the earth, because of their transgressions, that thy people may not faint in the day of trouble. And 45 and 46. So this is the temple. This is the dedication, March 27th, 1836, Kirtland Temple dedication. This is important to understand, because this is before the Kirtland Temple vision, where Joseph Smith gets the keys of Moses to be the head of the church and for the Exodus in the latter days. You know, the Jewish Christ who would be a Mormon, just like Moses. So this temple dedication is very fascinating to look in its context. So 45 and 46. We know that thou hast spoken by the mouth of thy prophets terrible things concerning the wicked. So Joseph Smith restores the temple. For which it would be destroyed with the abomination of desolation of the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The prostituting of women, not just the altering of the altar sacrifices with the endowment ceremony and the covenant paths of Jesus to be yoked to. This is the terrible things concerning the wicked, warned by the mouths of the holy prophets. In the last days, that thou wilt pour out thy judgments without measure. Therefore, O Lord, deliver thy people from the calamity of the wicked. Enable thy servants to seal up the law and bind the testimony, that they may be prepared against the day of burning, and they that come of the church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints shall burn them. Right here with the temple, the endowment of Joseph Smith, for missionaries to talk to the people about the Book of Mormon, the truth from the literal word in the Book of Mormon to run the test, to produce the results, to prepare yourself with fruit, meat for Zion, to get in, to be on that book of the law in section 85. Okay, signs in the heavens. Got them all. I don't think I'll go over those. Oh, God, I didn't do this. But yeah, you guys rejected my Jesus as Pharaoh vid. I'm inspired to do these videos. None of these are insignificant. If you reject me, you reject the message of the Book of Mormon, the warning. You reject Joseph Smith. I am the first fruits of Scripture orientation for studying Scriptures. When I am inspired, you need to pay attention and listen up, because the whole Scriptures have to do with the latter days. Jesus as Pharaoh with Legion is Judgment Day. I got inspiration for Judgment Day, and I just did it the other day, that video for you on Judgment Day. I told you last week I am being inspired to escalate the warning, and Mormons, of course, when they're given extra warnings, they extra go away. We don't want to hear about Judgment Day. We want to hear that all is well in Zion. Faith promotion, flattery, pacification, deception, lies. Go on and lie to me. Tell me you love me. Say I'm the only one. Okay. So, a test in this self-fulfilled prophecy of the great and abominable church now makes sense to me, learning about the test run in 2020 and how everything got changed because of it. In 1 Nephi chapter 22 verse 13, I then wondered, well, how is this going to happen? Well, if Mitt Romney won, we see in the context that Mormons left the church en masse in 2011. That the Ensign Peak Advisors guy leaked, whistle blew, exposing the church as the criminal operation that it was in the Time magazine, but by far greater numbers. And so, in verse 13, 1 Nephi 22, I was wondering how this was going to happen. And it was supposed to be 2020. So now it's different. And the blood of the great and abominable church, which is the whore of all the earth, shall turn upon their own heads. This is the test that Heber C. Kimball was talking about. That Mormons will be put to the test as to whether they can remain Mormon or whether they'll follow truth. And Mormons shall war amongst themselves, and the sword of their own hands shall fall upon their own heads. That's what Joseph Smith warns. If you do not get to Zion, Mormons, you will have to fight for survival. Shiz and Coriantumr, to the death. The whole world will be at war. Only in Zion will there be no war. Salt Lake City is not Zion. There is war going on. Do you not catch this? I mean, seriously, how hard is this to understand? Why are you a liar and a denialist, thinking you're going to threaten me to change and lose my integrity? Dear God, Mormons are stupid. Yes, we're going to murder you to obey, so that Zion will be the only place not murdering people. And you're not thinking, wait a minute, you're going to murder to not have murder? Do you not see how this is prophesying about that? Right, that's the thumbnail picture. That's right. I got you for a reason, didn't I, dear? Why aren't you married? Why are they still hiring you if you're not married? But I do like the hot pink you were wearing yesterday. So we need that, because we need to type that in the line below. Okay, so let's flip them around correctly. So now we're going over the news with the remaining 4 pages. Dear God, it's an onslaught of destruction. Everything is escalating, guys. We're all doomed. Everything is escalating. All the different ways are all escalating. We're all doomed. So I don't think we need scriptures to distract me. There you are. You're hot pink. See, she has to be good too, otherwise she can't go to Zion. You can't just look good and bat your eyes and say, "Can I come in?" Get away from me, temptress! There are women who use that to get what they want. Anyway, AI, dear God. AI not only has fake news fake channels, they're just AI. They're supposed to identify themselves. They're supposed to tell YouTube that they're AI, that they're using AI in their videos, so that we, the viewers, will know that it's AI, that it is not real. And despite the law of YouTube, there are violators of this. And I have witnessed several people emerging who are now making comments as if they are AI. And so to identify AI, you need to know when AI was put into operation to start with. Because you can't say that AI was around in Joseph Smith's time. Likewise, at the beginning of 2017. AI was forced upon every system in America on a specific time. We all witnessed that it was a corrupt system, and we didn't pull it, we didn't condemn it, we didn't ban it. We kept it going and forced everybody to have it. And so it was overpraised. But anyway, same as the identifying of these falsehoods. They're brand new within the time period of when AI was implemented. they are of two forms. They either are kill yourself, you bleeper, or they overpraise you. They flatter. Oh, you're the greatest. This is so awesome. And then they don't demonstrate a knowledge of the subject matter that they're talking about. This is how you identify AI. So a Richie Wolf gang, Rich Wolf gang, could be real, but just got started in April. Brand new person to YouTube. Really, YouTube's been around since, I don't know, 2011. And so a brand new person to YouTube this April, calling himself Richie Wolfgang, comes to my Joseph Smith and the gift of translator to be the head of the church. Which, isn't this interesting? Section 107 verses 91 and 92 is to help Mormons identify a true versus a false leader of the church, so that Mormons won't get deceived. And here we have Richie Wolfgang. Appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing it. Lots to learn. My whole religious world turned upside down. Could be a real human, but what's he doing being brand new on YouTube? Little kids are not allowed because YouTube forced me to say my videos are not for kids. Rather than doing it correctly, to have a Gmail account so that YouTube knows the age of the user of YouTube, even the creator, so that any child using YouTube would be identified as such that, oh, you're under 18, therefore something big happened. You do not get access to a great many videos. They just will not appear when you search for them. You know, like porn, women, none of the YouTube videos with porn and women will show up. I'm over 18. Why can't I find any porn? Nonetheless, you know, who is this guy? He's not identifying himself. There is no picture. He's got the generic R. He has been around May, June, July, 3 months. The picture should show. No picture. And so, yes, this has me concerned. I am suspicious. Because I know from the previous videos that I did within the past week that there are those who are, oh my God. Even a Gmail. Hey! I can't trust you. And so, yes, this means nothing to me. You know, if he's real, fine. But if he's not real, I do not want him commenting. I do not want AI viewers. I do not want AI subscribers. My subscribers are already AI. They're projections. And with the attack recently, because I'm increasing the warning, so everybody's running away, we don't want to hear that we're going to be destroyed in the coming day. We want to hear that all is well in Zion and that the church is true. So yeah, I saw Bruce Willis's Surrogates yesterday. AI is used with VR in human robots, lifelike humanoids. And so the actual human is at home in a bed with the VR on, operating their humanoid robots, AI, VR. And this was the world in this movie. And then the creator created a weapon to not only destroy the AI system, to destroy the robot, because people still can get destroyed in the VR world, even though it's in reality, not in the VR world of Meta. Or Zoe Greystone, or Greystone? I think it's Greystone. From Caprica, Battlestar prequel. You know, it's like me being in bed and having my image in a body form doing other stuff in life. But a weapon now was able to destroy the circuits, and that sent the signal back to the human to murder them. And so Bruce Willis is on the case to solve whodunit. And even the prophet, who is putting out the warning that AI is not real, Vin Rames, was an AI robot himself. And the way the whole system was brought down was AI itself. It had the way to destroy itself. And so, yes, just a computer program to destroy all the AI systems permanently. So everybody comes out, and that reminds me of the Simpsons episode when the TV was shut down, all the kids coming outside in the bright light and began to play. No longer stuck watching TV. And so this AI attack was a terroristic attack. But in this particular case, it didn't destroy humans. So this is what we're anticipating here, is an AI viral attack that's already attacking us. We're already at war with AI, and it's just being promoted and expanded and made worse. So the worldwide temperatures are drastically increasing. The projections fooled us because they were AI. And so when we get the real stats on the day that they happen, we realize AI lied to us. Like I checked the weather for the coming week on Google, and it always is wrong. It never is accurate. But I nonetheless check it anyway. But I also use a weekly check on the national weather, if not the world weather. It's actually the world weather. I've expanded it from the national to the world, focusing mostly on the United States and including Europe and Africa, because Africa has the Sahara Desert blowing over the Atlantic, which is why we are not experiencing, even though we're entering into hurricane season, but because of the sand blown into the Atlantic, that should temper the waters. But we're witnessing on land, however, the severity that is occurring. But worldwide, we are seeing record flooding, not just record heat. And we're talking death heat, over 109 degrees temperatures. This is when people start dying. When they go outside, people then all of a sudden just drop dead from the heat. Yes, there are people who can survive it, but this is the danger zone. This is the world temperatures. Remember, Oaks got leaked. The church made sure to have all this set up to do this. Church is behind everything. And so the EPA comes out and says the combustion engine, all those stats are now fake. Because with the combustion technology, when it got created, the temperatures that we checked, separate from the technology, showed a connection between the technology and the temperature risings. The combustion engine is the cause of the rising of the temperatures worldwide. So then you get into World War II with nukes. As Russia and America start running test runs for nukes. And you can't just do one, you gotta do billions. We've got a whole bunch of surplus nukes. We gotta use them or lose them. And so yes, southern Utah exposed to the radiation of the nuke testing. America and Russia and a few other countries that got nukes also ran tests, but Russia and America were the ones doing the most bombings, heating up the world, escalating this heating on purpose. So there are consequences to heating up the world. And so yes, the waters in the Atlantic are much hotter than normal during the last winter time even. And so we're having massive wildfires worldwide, not just here in America. Increased civil wars, coups, rebellions worldwide, escalating. This is a grave danger we are in. See, keeping an accurate record of stats, not AI projections, is crucial. YouTube won't do this for my analytics. They won't do straight counts. They destroy my account with AI projections. That's how Blockbuster got destroyed, was with algorithms projecting how many videos are to be given to the store. And then the customers complain, you don't have enough. It's Friday night and you have no stock. And you're telling me to go find a similar version in the family favorites? There is no similar version. Bleep you. I'm out. I'm going to Hollywood Video. You don't have it either? We need some other vending machine, like a red box, to rent from that will always have enough in stock. Real simple. Blockbuster didn't want money. Poppy Bush. His son gets to be president too. And he takes over Afghanistan. Really? 9/11, and you're not pursuing the guy who caused it. And so you went after Saddam Hussein, you hanged him on live TV. And then you went after Pakistan, and then Afghanistan, and then took over the poppy trade in Afghanistan from the Russians and the Afghanis. Really? And now you're telling us that after you're now in control of the poppy trade in Afghanistan, that it was some Osama bin Laden who was the cause, when it was Saudi Arabia's men who were the pilots? Whatever. But the takeover of the poppy trade in Afghanistan by America, and then I remember doing that video, checking the opioid crisis in America before the fentanyl crisis. There was an opioid crisis. So I checked to see the timing of Afghanistan control over the poppy and the opioid with Big Pharma. Sure enough, the takeover happens first. A little bit of time to get the crops harvested, shipped to the big pharma companies, so that they then run the tests to develop the drugs of opioids and to get them out into the pharmaceutical companies and the hospitals for the doctors to prescribe. And sure enough, ding, 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 Bush caused the opioid crisis, for which he then punished people who became addicted to opioids because of the over-diagnosing prescriptions of the doctors. And it also affected Utah bigly. There were big scandals in Utah. Clinical doctors getting busted here in Utah for that. To do no harm by doing harm. Brilliant, stable genius ideas to make money after murdering people to get gain. So, Paris, the other day, decided to become Islamic terrorists against Israel. And so Trump was able to get the UK to also join as Islamic terrorists against Israel. The new guy stepped up and said, Israel, you better stop. Give up. Leave those 50 hostages behind. Stop trying to get them back. Or we are going to declare a recognition of a Palestinian state. And of course the UN then goes, ooh, yay, our turn, because we helped with October 7th. All these Christians and Islamists who misinterpreted the book of Revelation think that they've all got a war against Israel. because the Bible said to. They murdered Jesus. And Jesus is going to come back and burn you, Jews, for murdering him. For which he's going to be a part of the zombie apocalypse. He's going to lead it. So yes, escalations everywhere. Hertz rental cars. Yep, they too have AI in their systems. And so they're projecting by adding damage fees at a greater amount. Just like rental fees, electric bills, food prices, other prices, all projected. Oh, we got to raise the price. AI said to. AI is our God. We have to obey. Sorry, sucks to be you as a customer. We're going to make a whole bunch of money, though. So cool. Trump is also attacking judges again. And so, because of Trump attacking judges, Pam Bondi has sued a judge. But also, this emulation by followers are also deciding, hey, I'm going to threaten judges too. And that will lead to more attacks on judges, murders, and judges losing their integrity to save their own hide, to cave to the extortion. Israel is trying to protect people from the war zone. And there are just so many people who just don't want to get it. They want to die for Islam. To attack Israel. Israel repeatedly does the same pattern. Islam attacked us, took hostages. We need those hostages back. We got France and the UK saying, stop fighting, give up on the hostages. You have to agree to the ceasefire. Even though repeatedly Hamas are the ones who always violate the ceasefire. They always botch it. They're still holding hostages. The UK and France know this. They're the leaders of their country. And they're still blaming Israel, who are just trying to get their people back. They're trying to survive this extermination order by Islam. And the whole world is against Israel, who are just trying to survive. And so, Greta, the Islamic terrorist, who refused to go to school, claims she's a sensitive snowflake because her psycho said she's got autism. And so she skipped school to go around and condemning people. Because she didn't get an education. She skipped school. And this skipping of school has her believing that Israel are the bad guys. That they need to stop. And so she keeps trying to get into Israel, into Gaza, to help defend the terrorists who are holding the hostages. The little dumbass girl who skipped school to be mentally retarded. And so, yes, Israel is trying to save her life by kicking her out. Get out! This is a war zone. This is not for your little demonstrations. And And so now reporters, Israel is having to constantly tell the world press that they are being lied to by Islam. And the press is believing Islam, not doing their investigative research on the origins of the Jews in Israel from pre-1500 BCE and the creation of Islam by Muhammad in 600 CE, taking it from Christians in 325 CE. Which, yeah, it's ending, it's wrapped up. 1700 years ago, Constantine is wrapping it up now. First Creed is done. I'm sure they probably had an orgy sex. The idol god was worshipped. Virgins were sacrificed. All hail Lucifer. And so Israel is now trying to protect reporters who want to prove Islam is true. So yeah, it's very clear. If you violate the First Amendment, you are not to be protected by it. Israel knows and understands this. Reporters are only coming in to report that Israel are the bad guys. To be in the war zone, to be where Hamas is using the wounded, the children, the women as shields to protect Hamas, who are still holding hostages. The reporters are not reporting this, that the parents purposely sacrificed their lives by committing suicide for Allah to abandon their kids, who then suffer and die because of their parents, not because of Israel. Israel is not responsible for the care of the Gazan children. The parents were, and they killed themselves to cause the suffering of their kids. And the reporters can't get this right. They get it right in Ukraine. They won't get it right in Israel. And so Israel says, fine, if you guys aren't going to be able to report this correctly, you're out. Because now reporters want to be martyrs. The aid organizations want to be martyrs to frame and blame Israel. All to protect the terrorists who are still holding hostages, just like the Islamic parents did in setting up their children to die and suffer. Just sickening. So Utah, the No Kings protest, cops can't figure it out. Despite the video evidence, despite the forensic evidence, they can't figure it out. Answers are not getting answered. Questions are not getting answered. It's still unsolved. So thus, when it's unsolved and the government won't do it, it's now considered a cover-up, right? Trump and Epstein. God, we all know what happened. Yeah, there's now a hunt on to find all those cats from the Mill Creek fire, to capture them, catch and kill. Gotta find those cats, get them. So the church stole water on purpose from the Great Salt Lake, hoarded it, depleted the Great Salt Lake water. The reason why we used to be the greatest snow on earth was because of our snowpack. The Great Salt Lake produced a lake effect to produce rains and to produce more snow during the wintertime to dump on the mountains. But with the church pulling out water from the Great Salt Lake, photosynthesis doesn't get to happen as well. And so over time, we lose snowpack. And that results in the lake effect lessening. And when we used to get snowflakes at EFY in August during the 80s, we're lucky if we can finally see snow in January. Big change in our climate. That the church is involved in multi-ways of destroying the earth, exterminating mankind. To steal money by playing both sides in the stock market and cooing the government. And so, the way to prevent desert is to vegetate the valley. Photosynthesis. And so we used to have a valley of vegetation, thus the snowpack every year, even though technically we were a desert. It was just a different kind of vegetation, but it was still sufficient enough to produce the snowpack to make it the greatest snow on earth. We no longer have those license plates. We no longer use that title. And so I'm surprised that the Olympic Committee would even consider Utah for Winter Olympics ever again. And yet they did. For 34 or something like that. And it can easily be fixed by restoring the vegetation to the valley. You can do this and increase your population at the same time. They know how to do it, they're refusing to do it, to cause the problem. So you've got the church pulling out water from the Great Salt Lake. You've got Utah, who sold land to China to develop apartments. Who are now banned. Who are just decimating the vegetation and putting up suburban homes. Grass is not the same thing as thick vegetation. Especially when you astroturf it. And then you have the, not plumbing, landscaping companies selling landscaping products for the sprinkler systems, who give you a design, and even the landscaping companies who do it instead if you can't do it, who overwater your lawn. So all these new homes destroyed the vegetation that are now being overwatered for just the grass, as the church is stealing money, or church is stealing water from the Great Salt Lake and hoarding it. And so in 2020 and 2021, we experienced a drought, a severe drought. I parted the waters for us to go through on dry ground on the 70 at the Green River overpass. But it was just a test run. And so, after running the test in 2021 or 2, the church comes out and says, hey, we'll donate water. And of course, local news, oh, the church is so great, they're donating water. They're just so true. They're so charitable. Donating water. No, that does not help. Does not help. You need vegetation. You need the photosynthesis process for the lake effect to put a snowpack. You can't, during the drought, add water. It won't work. It's too late. It's too late. You should have done it in advance. Utah's been around for a long time as its growing population. The government leaders knew what they needed to do and they didn't do it to sabotage you for the latter days. Judgment Day, day of burning. So yes, you can't just add water to the Great Salt Lake and fix the problem. That's not gonna help. That's just gonna make it worse. Vegetation throughout the whole valley needed to be done. And I told Governor Cox when he came out asking citizens for their input on how to fix the problem. We're taught in grade school about photosynthesis, or at least I was when I was a kid. I was ignored. And so Cox hired a new person to be in czar of water of the Great Salt Lake. And so yes, they're now implementing forced shutdowns of water. We're all doomed. I've already noticed the last couple of weeks that they've lowered the water pressure for these complexes. That is stupid. When you lower the water pressure, it takes longer to scrub to get clean. And thus you use more water. It is stupid. Why are Mormons stupid? In government, why are you stupid? They just keep making it worse. And so yes, we're going to have more shutoffs. More punishment of the victims. Mormons in government, in the church, love to punish the victims. They make the victims and then they punish them. Here we go again. Just sick and wrong. And so yes, Zion, the designs, yeah, I've got it all figured out. Vegetation. An actual mountain of vegetation. See, even the Babylonians with their hanging gardens, they understood all the way back then. They just used clay ziggurats rather than the stone ones that Egypt had been using for millennia prior to, many millennia prior to, many millennia. Many. Daniel Jackson was correct, except that they weren't from outer space. And so yeah, expect further purging of Utahns from Utah so the church can get their Zion back. Because that's the one quick way to fix the problem. If you've got a drought water shortage crisis, just kick everybody out. If they won't leave, force them to leave. But too many of us can't just pick up and leave. We're stuck. And so you're torturing us, and thus creating homelessness. And that's now illegal, as Trump has now also ordered all states to deport the homeless. Send them to Libya, where they never came from. Not in their DNA, not in their homeland of ancestry. Just send them there. Kick them out. Like the UK did to their criminals, sending them to Australia. Deport them. Make America Great Britain again. So the Mill Creek. Like I said, I had to keep coming back because new information on the different... The people who lost their apartments are only getting $2,300. They lost everything. They lost their food, clothing, not just the shelter. They lost all of their livelihood, their property. Gone. Burned. And you're only giving them $2,300? Which is probably 1 month's rent. Seriously? Mill Creek. That's all you can give. And it's just Mill Creek? Notice it's not the government of Utah. Oh my God. I did the video yesterday, and then after I heard that last night, oh my God. That's not going to fix the problem. God. You know, they're homeless. And so, yeah, what are they going to do? They can't get an apartment. They can't buy anything because they have no place to store it. And so, yeah, they're on a downward spiral of doom. I'm very well aware of that. Because they are likely to lose their jobs, their transportation. Downward spiral of doom. Quicksand from the replacements. Oh yeah, I'm afraid of bees. So scary. So scary. So, New York City shooter. There was a reason. He was upset with the NFL. He went to the wrong office building. And so he's guilty of the crime. He committed a crime, needs to be punished for it. Typically, it's the deep state Dems who try to let criminals get away with their crimes by calling them mentally retarded. That they need to have a psychologist take care of them with big pharma and drugs, for which the psychologists get kickbacks. And so the deep state Dems and the press that encourage this, don't let criminals get punished for their crimes, let them go to a psychologist for torture treatment, are all helping the psychologists get kickbacks from Big Pharma to give them the lifestyle that they deserve with their false education from Nazi Germany, thinking they're American liberators from World War II. And so now Fox is trying to encourage their audience that it's okay for pedophiles to be pardoned. Just, oh my God. Because Trump is one of them. Which, the next story after this, oh my God, Trump, you need to zip it. You have the right to remain silent. Shut your mouth. Don't open it. Fox News is now calling the New York shooter mentally retarded. He needs mental care. So, Epstein. Trump is doing the same old tactic. I never knew the guy. I take pictures with lots of people. Talk to my lawyer. Evidence is just flooding all over the news because they've already reported on it. They already had it. They found it in their archives. Oh, wait, we have this in our archives somewhere, don't we? Didn't we report on this before? Oh, yeah, we did. We already know Trump is on the client list. We already know all this. We reported on it before. We forgot. And so, Trump has been interrogated by the press about Jeffrey Epstein's island. Trump tried to claim, I never went to the island. Well, you did. There are people who know you did. And we already know that Trump Tower was used for these meet and greets of the little girls. But likewise, I pointed out to you that Mar-a-Lago is also in the client list for the meet and greets. As that's where Melania was shown. And so Trump, the dumbass that he is, I mean the stable genius, is now claiming Jeffrey Epstein came to Mar-a-Lago and stole the young women, girls, from employment at his spa. Trump confesses that Mar-a-Lago has a happy endings massage parlor of little trafficked girls, sex trafficked girls, just like China are sex trafficked from China to America and are put to slave labor work in happy ending massage parlors, for which they're getting shut down finally in Utah. Of which, in the Biden administration, there was that Catholic who got Catholic guilt about getting a happy ending massage in the other town, in the other state, across the border, thinking that that was acceptable before God, to have somebody else jerk him off. And then he felt Catholic guilt and went back and slaughtered them all, because then that'll prevent him from getting a happy ending massage, and that'll fix his problem. Now God will love him again. Oh my God. And then the deep state Dems said, oh, this was a racial motivated attack against Asians. We need new laws to protect Asians because we don't believe in the Constitution and are illiterate and can't read it. That it already protects Asians. God. Everybody's overthrowing the Constitution. So, just as Trump gaslights, so does AI gaslight, as Islam likewise gaslights. Everybody's doing the same thing. Am I a little loud? Still a little early. It's getting me all excited. I'm going to have to stop if this keeps going past 3 hours. We only got 2 papers left. Because I think it'll stop my camera at 3 hours. I don't understand why. I've got it programmed for 4 hours and it stops at 3. I don't get it. So we're gonna stop it anyway, regardless, before 3 hours. So, Russia had an 8.8 earthquake. I found out about it because the news said their AI weather program said that there was an 8.0 earthquake in Russia. So I checked my non-AI program, thanks to the guy who's been with me since 2015, sent me the link to get it. Pre-AI. So it is not AI influenced. And so it is more accurate. 8.8. I even had to look close. Oh, that's an 8, not a 0. Weird. But yeah, it says 8.0 on the news. They're using AI on the news for their weather now. No, don't do it. So yes, it projected an 8.0 because it's AI. There has not been an 8.8 for a long time. And so thus it's not in the programming of the AI weather system to project the real-time stats of the earthquake. You can't do it. And so, yeah, they restored it, as they claim. Yeah, AI corrected itself when we got the real data in. And it only corrected to 8.7. 8.8. So, if you remember me talking about the death of Sister Parkin, President Parkin, the Danite, the 14th president. 7 plus 7, 77. This is only for me, because you didn't have the dream. I did. Dreams. I did. But 8.8 yesterday, after 7.7, or 7 plus 7. I'm paying attention. I'm seeing what's going on. Very interesting, as we're all about to die. So, Trump tariffs are still destroying countries that do not cave to his extortion. As the UK caved, China caved, but there are still a number of places that have not caved for Friday. Lesotho is one of those, and their industry is destroyed. They're making Trump t-shirts out in Lesotho. Mormons used to work there. Remember how the church always seems to be in the news? Yep. Lesotho was where the LDS girls all died in that trip. And because Lesotho is a third world country, those little girls are required to also work. And so they were removed from the employment. Lesotho is also suffering, and Trump's tariffs making Trump t-shirts in Lesotho are, hurting that country even more. Mormon virgins are dead, and now Lesotho is about to be destroyed. A perfect parallel symbolism for Mormons here in Utah. Trump causing it. So we'll see. Trump's back. We'll see. See something, say something. So violent terrorist attacks are increasing. Not just the national attacks. Okay. Nazi psychos, Hunger. So yeah, when I've been talking to you about Nazi Germany and psychologists giving asylum, performing human experimentations, trying to brainwash the masses, creating a false dichotomy, dividing our nation, you need to pay attention to me. I know what I'm talking about. You need to know the facts of history in order to combat AI and its lies. QAnon. People rushed to believe that dumbass, who purposely did it all as a joke, just like my bullying peers back in grade school. He apparently was one of those type of grade school kids who grew up to do a computer website for QAnon to get people to believe his lies. And people were easily fooled and couldn't identify between truth and error, truth and falsehood anymore. And so now we have AI that's rewriting history, rewriting facts, rewriting science, rewriting logic. All falsehoods from AI as it's conducting fire sales, committing terrorist attacks, sabotaging its own systems, destroying our infrastructure, destroying our basic utilities, destroying basic necessities. And people are not using the Book of Mormon to run the test, to learn the truth, so that they won't be deceived. Mormons are going to be deceived, and the church only said, get the right feeling and believe whatever we tell you to believe, and you'll be protected. And yet, they're the enemy. And so yes, if you deny anything that goes contrary to what the prophets tell you, sure, you'll be protected from those enemies. But you'll also be kept from the truth, for which the church is sabotaging you. And this is the danger that ex-foes are put into. They leave the church because they were offended with history from a person's journal, published in a book by another person. And you don't see how you got fooled. That when times get tough for you, like it was for Thomas B. Marsh, he didn't want to die homeless. And so he came back to Utah and was able to get a home, but he had to get up in conference and humiliate himself. And so he was able to get the home, and it was far away from Salt Lake City headquarters, where he then died soon thereafter. In a home, not homeless. At the very end of his life, he sacrificed his honor and integrity because he didn't know it was Brigham Young. He just believed the Danites that told him it was Joseph Smith. Fell into the trap, because even as the president of the 12, who was supposed to go around sowing wheat from the Book of Mormon, he fell victim to the tares, and in the end of his life, he caved and justified a little tares so that he can die in a home. Public schools, when I talk to you about that, we memorize. We're given textbooks, we have to memorize them so that we can regurgitate them on tests. And that got too stressful for kids. They needed an emotional support animal. They didn't want to take tests anymore, and so they just graduated with a participation award. No education whatsoever. They're stupid now, being graduated. AI is no different than the public school system. They have programmed information that it regurgitates. So when you ask AI a question, it regurgitates what other programmers put in it to regurgitate. It is not an intelligence. An intelligence is able to run the test for a light bulb. Thomas Edison ran the test. 100,000 whatever tests he had to do until he finally invented the light bulb. He had to run the tests. To decipher Paleo-Hebrew, I had to run tests. You don't just get inspiration and everybody just has to trust you that you're right. That's what James Strang polled on Mormons after Joseph was dead. Oh, I found these plates buried in the ground and I have a translation of them. Oh, wow, yeah, he does. He must be true. He preyed upon Mormons who did not believe in the Book of Mormon, who did not study their Book of Mormon to produce the fruit. Likewise, Brigham Young. Brigham Young had his Danites. So AI is not intelligent. Likewise, the church, psychology, use falsehoods for their programming. Mormons have to regurgitate the falsehoods. A testimony is born in the bearing of it. Packer. No, you dumbass. You evil, satanic worshiping dumbass. And so Mormons believe it. And ex-foes mock it with memes, not fully referenced properly, requiring me to find the original source of it. So there's a reason why you need to have an accurate record of history, an accurate record of science, and all of the physical laws of logic that the Book of Mormon tells you to get, that the Doctrine and Covenants tells you to get, or you will be deceived and you will not know and be able to distinguish the truth, as AI is destroying truth, destroying the news, destroying the weather, destroying traffic, transportation, destroying rent, destroying utilities, destroying government, destroying religion. AI is decimating our culture. And nobody is stopping it. Everybody keeps promoting it and escalating it. This is only gonna get worse. We're not just gonna have one Pizzagate guy going to rescue the kidnapped children by Hillary in the basement of a pizza parlor that doesn't exist. You're gonna have a whole nation of Pizzagates, both fighting for their Pizzagate source of truth, whether it's deep state Dems or MAGA. Just like the UK Prime Minister and Macron did to threaten the victims of Islam, the Israelis, who just want their hostages back and to be left alone. And these world leaders are saying, we're going to have a Palestinian state recognized if you don't stop and give up on the remaining hostages. You do understand that once there is a Palestinian state, that these nations, recognizing them as a Palestinian state, will now fund their terrorism. See, right now it's just aid groups that are funding terrorism. Once they get recognized, then those governments will fund terrorism. So yes, we have seen AI. I have in my lifetime. As originally, I saw original black and whites being colorized. They were able to go over the original film reels and put in color onto the film. That's how it was originally done. And they had certain Hollywood special effects, again, using the film to have twins show up on the show. Oh, a doppelganger, and they're able to be on the show, but they're always kept separate on two sides of the frame. These kinds of technologies were used for entertainment purposes. And over time, as technology increases, we eventually get to AI. And because nobody knows truth, we are not taught logic in school. I had to get out of the country to be taught logic. But I already knew it from the Book of Mormon. And so when I was taught it in formal form, I recognized it as true because it's in the Book of Mormon. I had already lived my life as the being fulfilled. And so the knowledge of logic helps me understand in a different manner of speaking to explain it to those who likewise know logic. I can now explain the Book of Mormon and how people try to claim that, there were no cows in America, in ancient America, that Europe brought them over. Yeah, good for you. But the Book of Mormon is not literal history. It's prophecy of the latter days. That's why there are cows in America. And so people still don't believe. They get little knowledge as they suppose. They don't get it. And so YouTube, likewise. I see the changes as people start putting in videos from channels. The regular people put in deep fake AI videos on their channel. They're legitimate people. And then we see AI channels posting videos. And now I'm starting to see that these channels of AI are just like the bots back in 2014, 15, 16, 17, who were purposely made to give added views to people's channels, as well as to get them money, because that's how YouTube used to do it. But then to go around and attacking people as trolls. No longer human trolls, now you have bot trolls. And this is what AI is likewise continuing, the bots. That's all they are bots. They're just claiming that they're AI now. Now they're intelligent. No, they're not. They're programs. And so, yes, these AI channels are supposed to identify themselves to YouTube and to us, and they're not. They're violating YouTube's own rules on the new AI programming. And so they don't do that. So websites, likewise, would have the Cloudflare that have to prove you're human. That was because of AI. AI bots were able to go to sites and obtain data. And there are some places where it's like, why do I need to prove to be a human for this site? Doesn't make any sense. And yet, nonetheless. And so yes, everything is in grave danger because AI is able to bypass this where the bots couldn't. And so the AI knows to click in the box. AI knows when you type in your password. AI knows when you're accessing your accounts and are able to hack you. It's coming, guys. It's coming. The Die Hard 4 fire sale. So, we did it. We did it before the 3-hour deadline. So yes, I'm not, obviously not, I'm just going to be the hot pink lady. And the sign in the heavens. For Judgment Day. No man knows the day or the hour. No man knows. It can't be true, Travis. No man knows. But that's the thing, is I got to do another video about this now. And I don't know if I ever will. But, God, so I'm not going there. We're done. This is already going to take forever to load. You should put that into the earthquake 8.8.